Don't feed the doll. When the Hartleys moved into the old farmhouse on Pine Hollow Road, they weren't expecting much excitement. Just a fresh start. Quieter nights. A place for their 7-year-old daughter, Grace, to grow up safely. The house was worn but charming, all creaky floorboards, slanted ceilings, and wild ivy on the bricks. But it was the backyard that sold them, a wide open field with an old swing set and a treehouse in the corner. On their third day there, Grace made a discovery. She had been digging in the backyard, pretending to search for treasure, when her hand hit something hard beneath the dirt. "Mom!" she shouted. "I found a doll!" Allison, her mother, walked over, brushing the dirt from the cracked porcelain face. The doll was old, with pale skin, faded green glass eyes, and curly brown hair matted with soil. Allison wrinkled her nose. "That thing's probably been buried for years." But Grace held it tightly, smiling. "Can I keep her?" Allison hesitated, then nodded. "Just don't bring it into the kitchen. It's filthy." That night, Grace named her Bella. The doll sat on Grace's shelf beside her books and stuffed animals. Her eyes blinked when tilted, and her porcelain hands were delicate, almost too human. Later that night, after Allison had tucked her in and kissed her goodnight, Grace pulled something from her pocket. A small, folded piece of paper she had found buried with the doll. The writing was faded but legible. "Do not feed her after dark." Grace giggled. Weird. The next few days were uneventful, though Allison couldn't help noticing that Bella always seemed to be facing a different direction. And sometimes, when she walked past the room, she thought she saw the doll's eyes move. On Thursday, she caught Grace sneaking a juice box from the fridge at 11:30 p.m. "Grace, what are you doing?" Grace jumped. She was thirsty. She whispered, eyes wide. "Boo!" "Bella." Allison frowned. "Dolls don't drink juice, sweetheart." But when she walked into Grace's room, she found sticky droplets on Bella's face and hands. Her dress was damp and stained red. Grace insisted she hadn't spilled. The next morning, the fridge door was open. Food lay scattered across the floor: yogurt, eggs, a carton of milk half poured out. Allison was furious. "Grace, you can't keep sneaking food at night." "I didn't," Grace mumbled. "It wasn't me." But she wouldn't look her mother in the eyes. Allison found Bella sitting in the middle of the hallway. She could have sworn she had left the doll on the bookshelf the night before. By Saturday, something had changed. The air inside the house felt colder. A sour, metallic smell hung in the kitchen no matter how many candles Allison lit. And then came the whispers. Soft and muffled, like they were trapped behind the walls. Sometimes it was Grace's name. Sometimes just giggles. Allison assumed her daughter was playing tricks. But Grace looked tired. Her eyes had dark circles, and she no longer smiled when playing with Bella. "She won't stop talking," she said one morning. "She says I have to feed her or she'll scream." "Grace," Allison said sternly, "you're scaring me." Grace just looked down. "She's always hungry now." That night, Allison set up her phone on the dresser, aimed at Grace's bed. She needed to prove to herself that Grace was just imagining it. That this was nothing but childhood nightmares. When she reviewed the footage the next morning, the bed was empty. At 2:17 a.m., Grace stood in the kitchen. She wasn't holding Bella. But Bella was there. On the counter. Upright. Staring. And Grace was offering her a spoonful of peanut butter. Speaking words that didn't match her lips. Almost like she wasn't the one talking. Allison slammed the phone down and ran to Grace's room. The dolls sat on the pillow, grinning. They buried Bella that day. Allison didn't ask permission. She marched outside, dug a hole near the swing set where Grace had found her, dropped the doll into a shoebox, and covered it with heavy rocks. Grace didn't cry. She only said, "You should have burned her." Allison laughed nervously. "She's just a doll." "No, she's not," Grace whispered. For the next 2 nights, the house was peaceful. No whispers, no messes. Allison began to sleep again. But then, Monday morning, she found a different doll sitting on Grace's windowsill. A new one. Cloth. Homemade. Where did this come from? Allison asked, her voice cracking. I made her, Grace replied, not looking up from her cereal. Allison's stomach turned. What's her name? Bella too. That night, Allison had a dream. She stood in the backyard, staring at the swing set. From the dirt beneath it, something was moving. A porcelain hand. Then a cracked face rose from the ground, smiling, mouth open wide. Still hungry? It whispered. Allison jolted awake. Downstairs, the refrigerator door creaked. Something was humming.